Coming up next, Pete, though. PN News will be rapping, you'll want to be clapping, says the little Aston.
Not going to be. Honestly, I try to come up with a thing that rhymed with type 2 diabetes, but I couldn't be. Honestly, Mark, I couldn't bring myself to. I started looking at PN News on Twitter, and I think this is a Twitter page, but he was last seen on Twitter having a go at Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, basically saying that they're part of the deep state and all that stuff.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was a thing about like being the better rapper. I thought it was going to be a really charming sort of silly story.
You'd think they'd have a bit of respect, wouldn't they? But,
yeah.
No.
Well, I think PN News should have a bit of respect, but I'm not sure it certainly goes the other way. I mean, he comes out and he starts this. It's the first Clash. 1992. It's difficult to do it as badly as he does it, even when you're trying to do it. I mean, it could not be as well. 92, and he comes out. He goes, DDP, let's see what you've got. I know you'll fight fair. Not.
It's so badly done that way.
It's the first Clash in 92, and have I got a surprise for you. Come on, Paige, let's see what you've got. I know you'll fight fair. Not! Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo!
While I watched it, I died. I died and I was dead. I was delighted. I killed myself.
I started watching Mantor matches. His cousin. Not much better.
Very much a family sort of tradition of stinking the joint.
It looks like
his tights. They say "yo baby," and quite often because he's so fat. Yeah. He's such a. He's not like, impressive fat.
No, he's not. There's no reason why he's there.
No, he's so wobbly.
People will know people who look like him. He's got proper boobies.
Yeah,
he's got real cleavage. To him.
He just jiggles. You don't look at him and go like Vader, big athlete.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
You just look at him and you go, you great big fucking Tesco bag full of vomit, fucking jiggling around.
He's got like really tight bandages around of his lower legs. Like the pressure could burst at any moment.
Deep vein thrombosis.
Yeah.
They're like flight socks, aren't they?
Yeah.
He's just like, I keep getting clots.
Exactly.
You know, he looks like a massive neon green fucking egg. A soft boiled egg. Just
fantastic.
And absolutely not body shaming him. It's just, he's so awful. He's so awful. And his horrible little rat tail at the back as well.
You've Sting as one of them.
He does. He works a lot in Germany, and I bet he's just like, I'm probably going to be here a year, but I'm not regrowing my rat tail. When I go back to Germany, they're like, that is super smooth rat tail. You're like, yes, mate. Oh man, he just does look like a big fat baby. When he jiggles around, it's the yo baby. You quite often miss the yo.
Yeah,
and he's just got the baby.
Has there ever been a big fat baby wrestler?
There has been some crybaby matches where the losing wrestler gets dressed as a big crybaby. And that often happened to very fat managers.
Yeah,
because they did look like big babies. No, there's never been a huge superstar
called the baby.
Called Big Baby.
Called where it started.
Big Baby. Big Baby is not about. Please welcome Big Baby. I'd be all up for that. You got Diamond Dallas Page here as well from the Diamond Mine. That's so weak.
Yeah.
Namibia.
So
Sorry, he's actually from Namibia. He just looks absolute shit.
He looks like an S&M undertaker. He's found like a leather daddy shop.
It does. It breaks my heart slightly seeing this because he comes out and he's tried really hard, and you get the impression that everyone else is just like, no, I don't want to wear that. And he's sitting there with the wardrobe people just going, well, what I have a phrase, and I say, do namanu. And if we could get that in silver, that would look so cool. And I bet he's really like, that is an amazing job. And he just comes out and he's basically got everything. So he's wearing a cardboard felt bowler hat and it's got sparkly bits on it. And he's got...
It looks like really misshapen as well, like he hasn't kept it properly.
No, I don't think it can be kept properly because I think it's such low quality. And he's got sort of pleather and PVC and a bit of leather and some like neon leopard skin print, and then he's got tassels, and it's just like, make up your fucking mind. What is your gimmick, right? Boil it down and go, what would get that over? Don't just go everything.
This is stuff I've found.
Oh yeah, I've got these as well. Fucking put them down.
Page with that power elbow. Again on the chest of PN News, making a trifecta there.
You would not have said by the end of the 90s this man would be the number one performer or would be holding the WCW Championship belt. Hugely, hugely popular at the end.
Yeah.
He spent a long time not being popular, which I think added to the fact that when he was popular, people didn't mind it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, he's come previously from the nightclub business, but you can see...
You can't fucking tell.
So I had a quick look at Dallas, his backstory. He said, long story short, I tried wrestling when I was a kid. I think by kid, he means like 20.
Yeah.
But remember, Dallas, when he talks about anything, by the time he gets into wrestling, he's already like 35. So everything he says, like, I'm a kid. It was probably, I don't know,
23,
42 years ago. He said, in my third match, I tore the shit out of my knee. It put me out, so I started running nightclubs. At 23 years old, it was the booze, the broads, and the party. So I never went back. When I was 31 and a half,
Anyone who counts a half.
when I was 31 and a half, I was running a club in Fort Myers, Florida. And one night we were closing down and my DJ was playing Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Captain Lou Albano and a couple of the boys were in that, Nikolai Volkov and a few others. And I looked at it and said, I can wrestle. I should have been a part of that. That night we were going back outdoors. Now, this is Dallas Page telling the story, and I think Lou Albano was in the club,
right?
Is what he means.
Okay.
I don't think that comes across when you read out what he says.
Right.
It's a stream of consciousness, clearly, that's been transcribed.
Lou Albano, like, the most unwelcome image for your club.
Yeah, isn't it? And Nikolai Volkov.
I know.
This place looks banging. Oh, my God. Nikolai Volkov. Fucking right. Man.
Looks like you fucking belong to Double Dragon.
There aren't any women. Well, he said that night we were going back outdoors, and Albano says, what do you mean you should have been a wrestler? Back there, when you talked about being a wrestler, what were you talking about?
On the PA, shouting on the PA during the DJ set. I should have been a wrestler.
I said to Albano, I tried, but it didn't work out. He said, what was your name? I said I was a big Handsome Jimmy Valiant fan. Handsome Jimmy Valiant as well, worth mentioning. Wrestler from the 60s.
Right, yeah.
Page's age is continually something that gets like bombed in here. I said I was called Handsome Dallas Page. We just started drinking that night. We drank into the wee hours of the morning doing shots of Goldschlager and drinking beers. And I said, what about Diamond Dallas Page? I can hear them chanting DDP now. And I thought, I'm too old to be a wrestler. But what about being a manager?
I'm here to talk about one of the finest wrestlers in my wrestling staff from the Diamond Exchange. He is truly the strongest human being I have ever known.
And who might that be?
Big Bad John.
Big Bad John. Big John.
Feast your eyes on the real deal, Mr. Bernstein. This is Big B-A-D-D Bad John. I was checking out one of my diamond mines. I do that, don't you know, from time to time. And at the bottom of this mine, I found this big man, Big Bad John.
Big John.
I was catching the man. He's peeling down the walls of my mine with his bare hands. He was looking for rough-cut diamonds, don't you know. As a matter of fact, one time one of my diamond mines collapsed.
Collapsed?
Collapsed. We had to bring in cranes. We had to bring in trays. We even brought in planes because we were afraid at the bottom of that mine lay this big man.
Big John.
Big Bad John.
So he made a video and he sent it to the AWA, which was the sort of third promotion at the time. They called him back 2 weeks later. Nothing came of it. He then said that Paul Heyman left the AWA for the NWA.
Yeah.
So that left a big hole for someone who could talk on the mic in the AWA. So they called him back up and they said, you bring yourself in and we'll give you a tryout. Paige said, this chick I was fucking at the time, who was this hot blonde, I said to her, do you want to be on TV? And she said, sure. And we went to Vegas and she was sick because she was so nervous. But he starts as a manager in the AWA in 1988. He
with
managed
some blonde.
It's horrible when he speaks like that, isn't it? You realise that, you can take the man out of the nightclub.
Yes.
But then you're putting him into wrestling, so it's not like he's going to improve.
Yeah.
But he goes to the AWA. He manages a stable called the Diamond Exchange with Bad Company, the tag team champions, who are Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond, and the AWA champion, Kurt Hennig. And he worked there for about a year. They had a big show that built up, and he got on really well with Michael Hayes. I think largely because they look exactly the same. And Page went to Florida, did a little bit of wrestling, not on a big level. He even had a tryout for the WWF as a color commentator, which he was rejected from.
1, 2,
Boy, long tail cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dallas Page here in Atlanta, baby. The superstars of wrestling, along with a grand poobah of wrestling, Sir Alfred Haynes. How are you, brother?
Fine, but I'm a lord and not a sir.
Sir Lord, what's the difference today? We've got Mr. Perfect. Absolutely perfect, isn't he?
Perfect execution of
Wait a minute. We've also got the Ultimate Warrior.
the ultimate warrior is without a doubt one of the...
I can't believe it. Stay tuned.
This is
It's gonna
such a
be
rib here.
And he said in Florida, he got to know Dusty Rhodes through the people who were there. And so with Dusty Rhodes and Michael Hayes vouching for him, they signed him up to a very small contract to manage the Freebirds in WCW. So they were two of the people who were known as being good talkers. So by the very fact that they said put him as a manager, they were really bigging up his ability on the mic. I think it slightly went to his head, because he never, ever fucking shut up. He really is a pain at this point. Constantly going, good God, after everything, which is infuriating.
My sentiments exactly. All you ham and eggers, get ready to get blown away. Break it down one time. On the way to the ring, at a combined weight of 498 pounds, the bad boys from Bad Street, Michael Pure Sexy Hayes, Jimmy Jam Garvin, and the Road Boss himself, Big Daddy Ding. And this is going to be like shooting spitballs in a battleship.
All right.
This is Diamond Dallas Page making the shift from being a commentator and a manager to being a wrestler. Yeah. And he basically had seen the writing on the wall. They began scaling back his management and his commentary stuff. They were like, we don't really want you managing, Diamond Studs and things like that. And he was like, shit, okay, I am beginning to be pushed out of a job here because the job that I wanted to do and have always sort of done is no longer really existing. And so what he did was he took some advice from Magnum TA, who was a sort of huge star in the 80s, and he began training to become an active full-time wrestler at the age of 35. And 35, that always used to be for me the distant benchmark about people are like, well, Diamond Dallas Page didn't start until he was 35. Yeah. He was a world champion. I imagine what is now younger than I am. And I just, it's always held. And hearing that back then, when I first started hearing that, I used to hear that and think, well, that's 20 years away,
Well, he used to run nightclubs as well. So you sort of think, he's already achieved quite a lot, hasn't he? This is like him having a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And Pat says, how much? I said, well, if you'll ship it up there, because it is a 62 pink, Cadillac, and you let me drive it and put me up, I'll give it to you for nothing. That's how the car got the gig, not me.
He's treated as a joke throughout the whole thing. He's 35 years old. He said they tried to run me off. They tried to beat me up. Anyone who tries to get in this business, the first thing they do is try and run you off. But if you stick to your initiation, that means at least you've got some balls and you have some kind of work ethic. He went to the WCW power plant. He was trained by Buddy Lee Parker, the assassin Jody Hamilton, and Dusty Rhodes. And he would go on to start his career in August 1991. He didn't win a match for 6 months, and that was against pretty low-level talent in Mike Graham on a house show. After that win, he had another 6 months where he didn't win a single match. He had a year and he had 3 wins, but he kept going, and he would become a huge star. He's kind of interesting insofar as I think he was really, really good when he was on top, and certainly that rise to where he became sort of a big star in about 97. He was fantastic. The closest thing WCW had to a sort of Steve Austin anti-authority figure. And he was beloved as well. He was, representing the company rather than, Austin, who was fighting against his owner. He was just a really, really good performer. He became very, very good in the ring. But he's so difficult to watch in the early days. The sad thing for him is because he started so late, he had a short career. But I don't think there's anyone who started that late and had the career he had. I'd be surprised if there's anyone who wrestled for as short a period of time as he did and get to the level that he managed. So he's sort of a remarkable guy. It's really odd when you see him at this stage. You just go, I want to punch him in the face. Good God.
Good God.
My first 79 matches, I lost. They said I'd never be a winner. But they didn't know my work ethic. I'd never beat Savage. But they didn't know me. They were wrong.
and I can do it again. Bang!
I really like Diamond Dallas Page. I would never have realised that at this stage because he's crap and he looks like the shit and he's just appalling in every way. I think PNU, he squashes him here. And again, certainly watching it live and certainly watching it for years after, you're just like, he is one of the worst performers in the business. He gets splashed and PNU, as he pins him, you can see Diamond Dallas Page is saying something to him. And knowing what you know about Diamond Dallas Page now, at the time I'd have gone, look at him fucking, talking, the idiot. You're not at home, you're at work.
Yeah.
Stop fucking talking. He's probably saying to PN News, thanks for that, brother. Something really sort of warm and nice. And PN News absolutely gives him nothing. He's like, who are you? Fuck off.
Can I do a rap now? That's what he said.
Well, let's get back. I'm a big baby. I live on the moon.
Nice, the moon baby.
Moon
Like
baby.
it.
Please welcome Moon baby.
We wanted to start saying to the girls, you think you've got your old man's got the best buns. Well, why don't you bring him on down? Why don't you bring your old man down to the hot buns competition? Get him up there. You think he's so good looking? You think he's so bad? Bring him on down. A lot of people yelling and screaming, a lot of pressure on them. They'll get out there and they shake their booty. They get out there, they dance around, they jump around. The women go nuts. I've seen them throw money. I've seen them throw underwear. I've seen them throw it to God. They try to reach up and put the money in the guy's hands.
Yeah.